What's the creative process that you follow?
Little puppy got out. She's fine. I mean, ornaments are something simple. So we would start with the color design. How do we want it to look? And I do what's called pickup color. My color's pre-made, and I lay it out on a marver table or on a sheet of some type, and gather the hot glass and then roll it through it, and it picks it up. Or I start out with a chunk of colored glass on the blowpipe and pick it up that way. That's why it's called pickup color. I don't run color furnaces.
When you had to gather glass, how does that, for someone who didn't know, when you stick the pipe in there, you're gathering?
It's just like gathering honey. You open the door, you set the pipe on the edge of the furnace, move it in and keep on twirling and gather the glass on the end of the blowpipe or honey rod, whatever you're wanting to gather on, like you would honey in a honey stick. And you have to keep it turning from then on, because glass, being so viscous, will want to fall off.
Color pickup. Once you pick up the color, then what's the next?
We have to heat it in. Since I do pickup color, it's not part of the clear glass yet. It only has a temporary connection. So then we put it into the glory hole or reheat chamber, and we heat it up and melt it in so they become one unit and they're both smooth. If we're doing a bigger piece at that point in time, we'll let that cool down a little bit. We'll gather more glass on top of it and more color or design or anything that we want to put on there, and melt that in. That's how you get your bigger items, are by adding glass to it. If you actually cut or broke a piece of colored glass the way we do it and looked at it, you would see a veneer coat of color on the inside or in the middle, and you would see a thicker coat of clear. But if you look at it, it all looks like blue glass or red glass. But if you break it and look at it, you can tell that it's really not. It's mainly clear.
That's fun. Then, after it's all one color, what do you do? There's constant movement, obviously, to keep it.
Yeah, you always have to keep it moving to keep it on the pipe and being centered. And then after you come out of the glory hole and it's one piece, then you start to work the glass. So you sit at the bench using your tools, mainly what's called the jacks. They're like giant shears, and that's our hands for touching the glass. And we blow and shape and heat and blow and shape and heat. And the glass has a working time of about 15-25 seconds. So it's a constant going back to the furnace, the glory hole, to reheat it and then come out and move it.
If you go past the 20 seconds,
It's just hard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like malleable anymore.
Yeah. It just freezes up, turns back into rock like it was.
And then, so after shaping different objects, obviously takes much longer. I think we saw an ornament. She was knocking ornaments out. 3 minutes tops.
It's long.
Yeah, maybe it just seemed that long. But
Yeah.
So she was doing it, consistently and fairly quickly. That just comes from experience, I'm assuming, to be able to.
Yeah, it's just from a matter of
Like muscle memory.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, you don't think about it, you just do it.
Once you have your form, and it's what happens at, like, how do you get it off the pipe? And then I know there's special cooling chambers.
After you're done with your form, you try to cool the temporary connection that you put on it, depending on what you're making. And glass will always break at its coolest point. So you try to cool that temporary connection, tap the pipe that connection is put on there with, and the vibration will go down and separate the two pieces of glass.
That's cool.
And then we have to put it away in an annealing oven or a Lear. Most people in the States call it an annealing oven. And depending on the thickness of the glass determines how long it has to be in there. Most work that you'll see of a glass blower, it'll take 12, 18 hours.
How does the oven function?
They're either gas or electric, and most of the time they're hooked up to a computer and a thermocouple, and it will calculate. You tell how long you want it to cool on the thickness of your pieces, and it'll calculate that, okay, I need to go from 900 to 650 in 4 hours. Here's my arc. I need to go from 600 to 250 in 6 hours. Here's my arc. And over time, it'll control that and bring it down. Or if you have a gas oven, a gas annealing oven, there's two ways to do it depending on how it's built. You can do it the same way with gas, or the Europeans just take the burner out. Their walls are so thick that it'll hold heat for 8 hours at least. So they just take the burner out, turn it off, plug up the hole, and walk away.
So it kind
And then when they come in the morning, it has that slow, gentle cool.
Huh. Interesting. So that's the glass just cools itself naturally in that sense?
Yeah.
That's really interesting. What do you use?
Electric.
Electric.
90% of the states we're using electric. It's hard and few and far between to find somebody who's using gas as an annealing oven. I always wanted to make one.
So do you do any, do you have a kiln? Do you do any fused glass at all as well?
No, not really. Have all the things to do it, and I can play around with it, but it's not something that I really get interested in. Same with lamp working. I have 3 torches and stuff, and the area to do it in, and all the toys, and I still don't do it. To watch me lamp work, according to my wife, is like watching a gorilla play with a football. So I try to do it like glass blowing, and it doesn't work. It's a totally different technique.